So, having installed R, we can go ahead and open up the applications folder and find R there and run it. And we're going to see the R console, and down at the bottom of the R console is the prompt with a flashing cursor, and this is where we're going to be entering our commands. The first thing that we need to talk about is the current working directory. So the current working directory is where R goes and looks for any data files which you'd like to bring into it, and it's also where it saves your workspace image, which is where it's going to put any data or object files that you create during your R session, and we'll talk about that more in a bit. So the first thing we're going to do is figure out where the current working directory is. So if we say get get wd, short for working directory, and a open paren, R will automatically close the paren there on Mac computers, which is nice, and you hit enter, it'll show you your current working directory. Yours should look similar to this, with the exception of your username there instead of mine. So the next thing that we want to do is go ahead and try and change the current working directory. This is useful if you have a data file that you'd like to bring into R that's saved in a different folder. So we're going to say set wd open paren quotation mark, and then go ahead and type in the directory that we would like to change it to. So in this case, I'll change it to a subfolder of Brian called R. And to confirm that that went through, we're going to type in get wd again, and it's going to return where the current working directory is. So we can see there that it has been changed. One important thing that I'd like to bring up is that commands in R are case sensitive. So if I type in get wd with a capital G, it's going to go ahead and return an error. If you would like to fix an error, you can go back into the history of commands that you've already done in R by using the up and down arrow keys. So if I hit up twice, it'll take me back to my previous command that did not have the miss caps in it, and you go ahead and hit enter, and then it'll run. So that's just something to keep in mind. Errors are pretty common in R sessions, and it does not do any harm to the program at all. So you can just go back into the history of commands and run it again. So having done that, we're going to go ahead and practice some basic calculations in R. So R can be used as a basic calculator. If you type in 2 plus 2, it'll return the answer there. Or 2 times 3, it'll give you that. You can do 2 to the third power with a caret key. R can find the log of a number, so you can say log of 2.71821, and it'll return a number that's almost 1. This brings me to another important point. If you'd like to change your R session so that the output better matches what's on the basic statistics in R text on Canvas, you can go ahead and say options digits equal to 4, and that will tell R to show it a max 4 digits for each numerical output that comes out from a basic command. So you can check that by entering that command again of the log, and there it'll show you 1. So that's something to keep in mind. You can also nest commands within other commands in R. So if you type in log of 1 exponential, so log exp 1, that'll return 1. So that's just an example of putting functions within functions. And now we're going to go ahead and input some data from the text. This is found on page 9 of the short text, or chapter 17 in the regular textbook. And this is heights from a random sample of US women, and we're going to call this data capital X, and so we're going to put a space and then a less than symbol and a dash. Less than symbol and a dash, and so that's going to tell R to create a vector called X, and then we're going to assign something to this. So we're going to use the small c command, which is short for concatenate or combine. So c parenthesis, and then you can go ahead and we're going to type in a sample of that data. So 61, 63.5, 66, 68.5, and 71. And so if we want to check and see that R knows it's there, we can check what's listed in our workspace image by typing in ls and open paren. And you'll see there on the lower right hand side there's a capital X. So that X is our vector that we just created by combining that string of numbers and assigning it to that variable name of X, and R knows that it's there, so if you type in a capital X, it'll spit it back out at you. So once again, we just check the workspace image, which just holds all of the objects that you create during your R session, such as this vector X, and then we just typed in a capital X to bring the vector back up to us. So now we can manipulate this data. So the textbook states that the mean of the data is known to be equal to 66 inches and a known standard deviation of 2.5 inches. That's the data from which this sample is taken. So we can go ahead and calculate the standardized z-scores of this data fairly easily. So if we type in a capital Z is equal to our vector we just created, capital X, minus the mean of 66 divided by the standard deviation of 2.5. Now we've just created a vector called z, which should have the z-scores in it. So let's check on that here. Excellent.